Welcome to Giant's Cave, Giant's Hole. This is one of the most popular caves in the UK. It's the most popular because it's great to do for a first time trip. So if you don't know much about caving or you want to start out caving, you'll probably come right here. And it's also great for things like stag do's as well. And young children will come here and have their first ever caving experience. Now, how exciting is that? We're going to be looking at this cave and how great it is, but we're also going to be looking at how toxic this cave is too, which is just adds to the excitement, if you know what I mean, Jolene. So, without further ado, join me, Freshwater-Blizzard, and Jolene for the last episode of the season of Deep Down.
I did it! I didn't do it the first time all those years ago. I did it!
Under. This entrance wasn't like this all the time. So originally a farmer wanted this entrance to be used by the public to go into the cave and work as a show cave where they could pay, see the cave and come back out. But originally this wasn't big at all. This was a very, very small, cruel entrance where cavers had to crawl through to get into this cave. But the farmer blew it all up so it could be a show cave. That didn't really work out, unfortunately. Now, a story often told about this cave is how a group of Chesterfield cavers came in on the 3rd of September in 1939. Now, when they came out, war had been declared with Germany, so that must have been a real interesting, to say the least, thing to learn about your country on that day, that all of a sudden you come out of this cave and war has been declared. Goodness me. Now there's so many other things that are interesting about this cave that we're going to delve right into. So if you'd like to follow me in, and I'll take you there.
As we venture in, we can still see the old bits of concrete and bricks that we used to make this into a tourist attraction. These are left here as it would be just too big of an expense to have to take them all out again. It's far easier to leave them in. This cave is known for being the most toxic cave in Britain because it has the highest radon per square inch than any other cave in the country. Does this factor make this cave dangerous? Well, no, since we are not actually down this cave long enough for it to have any of these toxic effects, we will be absolutely fine.
Now, we've come to a bit that's very peaceful because I can't hear any running water at all here. Water is actually very important for cave formation, and that's a theme that you've probably noticed throughout the whole of this series. The whole of this series was shot in the same place, in Castleton, which is a small village. Now, millions of years ago, Castleton was actually underwater. It was entirely ocean. Now, how is limestone formed? Because all of these caves are made from limestone, right? Now, crustaceans in the water that live and die millions of years ago, they all got compacted as they died, and the shells of the crustacean got so compacted they actually turned into rock, just not through magic, just from the sheer weight of the ocean pushing down on the floor, all of that silt, all of those crustaceans, one by one, over millions of years, creating rock over time. Now this rock is called limestone. Now here's the thing, limestone is abrasive. Water abrases limestone. It's the CO2 that's in the water that slowly, over time, as the water runs through onto the rock, slowly cuts away at it, bit by bit by bit. So therefore, wherever you get limestone, you tend to get caves like this. So this area in the Peak District is limestone rich, which means it's chock-a-block with caves, and that's why I love this area so much. And if you ever actually want to see me, I'll be right here in the Peak District. So we come to a very early bit of the cave, which is really near the entrance. We're still close to the entrance. This is horrible, and I hate it, and I'm going to try to do it today. The reason being is This is really awkward. What cavers call awkward means that you're going to feel uncomfortable and there's going to be a lot of rock pressing against you. I've tried to do this and failed. Now what it is an oxbow, which we mentioned in Kaylee Keith's episode, which is where the water used to run around here and back out the other side, which you'll see in a moment, but it doesn't anymore. But it's left this oxbow here that you can go through for fun, right? I don't think it's very fun. I'm going to have to take my helmet off. It's going to be quite tight. And the last time I did it, I found it awkward because it really pressed against my chest. And yet I'm still going to try it. But another really interesting thing that you can see here, which cavers are very attuned to, are these right here. Now these are scratches from previous cavers. Years and years of cavers going through this route. These little scratches are left, and these are way more important than you'd think they'd be. And the reason why is that if you ever get lost in a cave, you can find scratches, and they'll lead the way out more or less, because you can see, this is the trodden path, this is where most people have gone, so it's probably the way out or the way on to where I want to go. Enough of that, I have to actually stop stalling and do this now. Oh God, you know what? Don't quit your day jobbings. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Actually, so my hand's there. Oh my God.
Fuck, I forgot how small it was. Oh my God.
That's it. That's the way forward. I have this much space. Oh my God.
And if Corin can do this, you can do it.
But I've got boobs and Corin hasn't got boobs.
True, I feel bad.
Now, this could be quite stressful to some people. I can't even wear my helmet, it's so small, but there's always a technique. That's a bit of grass. Now what was my technique? That's a very good question. Superman. So one arm out in front of me and one behind me gets me the best way through. Charging it. Charge it well. Awesome. Up there. Squidge. Alright, so now that could have been quite stressful for some people to watch, and I apologise for that. If you're ever in that kind of position, just stay calm, because it's actually fine. The walls are not going to collapse in on me. It's perfectly fine. I assure you, everything I'm doing is perfectly fine. The only unsafe thing is that I haven't got my helmet on. And I'm literally about to put it back on. So what's really interesting about squeezes like this is the anatomy of the human body. How am I going to get it through this small squeeze? Now, with men have very big shoulders, bigger than women. So they find, most normally, men find their shoulders very difficult to get through, and their shoulders are more likely to be trapped. But for a woman like me, I've got big hips. That's just part of my anatomy, and my big hips are going to stop me. If anything does, it'll be my hips that stop me from getting through any tight squeezes. But I assure you, even though you're watching from the comforts of your home and you think, God, I need to stop her, she's doing something really awful, I promise you, I'm 100% fine. It's safe, and I've got Jolene with me, so let's carry on. Woo.
No, it's totally okay. I didn't realise my foot was there.
I'm not glad he's that. Progression. So guys, take a look at what we've got here. Now, I didn't anticipate this at all, but we have a perfect example of how water is shaping this cave. Look, it's practically running down in front of us, creating this beautiful stream. But we have these big troughs of water right here. Now this is going to create pressure. All this build-up of water is going to weigh down the limestone and abrade it over and over again, until you get these big troughs of water. So you get this beautiful cut limestone, completely cut by water. And that's the CO2 in the water abrasing that limestone. So where does the CO2 come from? Well, a lot of it comes from the fields outside. So on the fields, there's this thing called topsoil, which is literally the top of the soil, right, of the earth. And that holds a lot of CO2. So when it rains, there's already CO2 in the rain, but the water will collect from that CO2 topsoil as well, and then it runs into the cave, cutting through the limestone like a simple knife. It's beautiful and effective, and this is how caves are made. Let's go deeper in.
Damn. This is where I am right here, and the flowstone is all the way up there. That's beautiful. Look at that. Damn.
Steady. Please don't do that, please don't do that.
Let's go. There you go. Right there. Isn't that the most beautiful and serenic thing that you could ever find in a cave? This is called the organs. And the organ pipes, or the organs, are basically just millions of years of rock formation. And if you slightly tap it, it can make a sort of noise, hence why it's called the organ pipes. Okay, so there's a really big lesson that we need to learn when we go caving, and that is not everything goes to plan. You can see that we struggled with the climb up, and even more so, we actually struggled a lot with the climb down, so much so that I didn't film anything for this, nor did Jolene. We just needed to concentrate. Jolene needed a lot of support to get down, and it was a really slippery climb. It was just so difficult for both of us that we both nearly slipped at certain points. And it was quite a height up for us as well. So if we did drop down, we would have broken a bone probably. So we had a lot of adrenaline running through us at the very end when we did actually manage to complete the climb with no injuries. I believe we were both very lucky, and it really did test our skill that day.
I think what happened today I will remember forever. That was so like almost slipping, falling. That half a second of falling felt like
I mean, when I was straight across there, my leg was cramping. It was like, I either move now or it's going to give in and I'm just going to fall, like totally fall. I wouldn't even be able to catch anything. I would have just slipped.
I can't believe I pulled you up.
You're so strong. I didn't even like push with my legs. He was like, grrr. And I was like, ah.
Okay, let me clarify something here. There's something that really scares me while caving, and it's getting to me right now, and that's why I want to stop and talk about this, because at this very moment in time I'm getting scared. Now what could I possibly be scared of? I'm getting paranoid. And this is the thing, when you get cut off of all of humanity, you're descended into darkness, right? And your brain starts playing tricks on you. And right now I'm actually getting paranoia. And I keep hearing voices that way and everywhere. And I keep hearing male and female voices. And you can see this is actually freaking me out because it's been about 15 minutes from the start of these voices. And there's nobody here. Nobody else is in this cave. It's just Jolene and I. That's everyone who's here. But when your brain starts to lose focus, when it doesn't have enough sugar or glucose, or if you've had not enough food perhaps, or you're just tired, or even if you've just been underground long enough in the darkness, you start hearing things. And these are called water voices. And they're called water voices because what I'm really hearing is just water running through the cave, but my mind really wants to make something out of that. It's so used to high activity that when I starve the brain of any stimulus, it starts to make things up in its head. So I'm going to start hearing voices. It's freaking me out. If I'm here any longer, these voices are going to get stronger, and it makes me want to someone's over there. It makes me want to turn around. There's nothing I can do about it. Absolutely nothing. So on that note, I don't even know what to say about it.
I'm real paranoid. I've never been this paranoid in the cave before.
Me too.
I'm proper feeling like stuff is on my shoulder.
I keep thinking someone's behind me, or something's weird about it. I think maybe we had the scare earlier.
Something just wasn't sitting right with us that day, and then Jolene had more of a scare, became really paranoid, and we had to leave the cave. And then I get my welly lodged into the rock, and I can't move my leg because of that. And when I wail out in a bit of pain, she panics over and over again, and I have to go over and calm her down and make sure the situation is under control, which is the most important thing about caving. You see, when you have a caving partner, you're not just looking out for yourself, you're always looking out for your partner as well, because you are, in a way, your partner themselves. You're both the same entity, and you have to look out for each other. And that's what I'm about to do here.
Oh God, you're right. Oh, no, I just, when you made that noise, I thought like someone like attacked you.
Do you happen to watch the descent?
No, please don't, please don't, please don't.
Do you know why I'm so freaked out? I've never had this behind you. I'm right here. I'm right here.
I was going to say
You know why this is happening. Can you turn my light off? You know why this is happening? This is because we had a little bit of a scare, a little bit of freak out. Adrenaline is moving through your body, okay? And you don't know how to deal with that.
You haven't had a lot of food in the last 4 hours, okay? You've just had a bit of chocolate. So it's completely understandable why you're thinking like this. You know I will take everything in my body and strength to look after you and make sure that you're safe.
Scenes, if somebody attacks us, is it okay if I smack them with the camera? Would you rather not?
Well, I want to thank you for getting this far. You might be able to hear my voice as much because of all the water. I want to thank you for getting this far into the series, and not only the episodes, but the whole season. Thank you so much for watching everything. Thanks Mum and Dad for supporting me. Thank you Jolene. Thank you Jeff. What a wonderful experience it's been to show you what caves are like. I just wanted to show you what I do and a piece of my life. So thank you so much for watching. If you're curious about caves, or if there are any questions that you have, check out the comments down below. Thank you so much, and I guess I'll see you next time. And it's goodbye from me for now. Bye!
Well, it wasn't a photo, it's just a cute little video.
What? Jolene.
Who, me?
You're so mean. Your mom is no, I can't say it. Be respectful to a woman.
I mean, my mum's very thin. Unlike me.
You're a chunky monkey, but it's cute.
I am.
Through the rock, which could actually easily collapse on top of me, but that's not going to happen. Why would I say that?
That's for another day.
That's for another day.
Depends how depressed I get. Lol.